in a bid to enhance the quality of life for cancer patients in Nigeria. Renowned veteran broadcaster Bimbo Oloyede, in anticipation of her 70th birthday celebration, has initiated a fundraising campaign aimed at supporting crucial research and treatment for cancer patients in public hospitals. Oloyede emphasizes the urgent need for assistance, highlighting the challenging reality faced by many cancer patients in Nigeria. She noted that numerous individuals battling cancer lack access to essential treatment and sustainable care, with new cases being diagnosed daily. She therefore appealed to the general public to generously donate to ease some of the discomfort of cancer patients in Nigeria.
As I speak, there are people who have cancer, but they don't have access to treatment, nor any type of hope of sustainable care. I've spoken to relevant stakeholders, oncologists, health practitioners, and new cases are being diagnosed at an alarming rate every clinic day in all the public hospitals. I am therefore convinced that I must do something significant to make life more comfortable for cancer patients. Although my birthday occurs during the Lenten season as well as the month of Ramadan, after due consideration, my family and I have decided to commemorate this milestone by raising 100 million naira for cancer research and the treatment of cancer patients in public hospitals. But of course, I can't do this alone. I ask the public to join me to do two things that will ease the discomfort of cancer patients, and I would like the benefits to be widespread and accessible, irrespective of financial standing.
All right, we now have the pleasure of bringing to you on this program Bimbo Oloyede, a gold standard in broadcasting, is set to Generian in a matter of weeks, and someone who has been very consistent in trying to bring succor to those who need it most. She joins us now to discuss cancer research in Nigeria and how she plans to help out. Many thanks, Auntie Bimbo, some of us will say. Good to have you on the morning show with us today. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for being here. A bit strange to be on this side of the table, but I'm happy to be here.
All right, and congratulations in advance. I mean,
Thank
March
you.
15th is almost here.
It is.
Like you said in the video, is a Lenten time, is the Ramadan period, but some of us know that we still have to celebrate.
Yeah.
But talk to us about why this idea of celebrating your birthday with a fundraiser for cancer research. What is the attraction to cancer? Is there a story behind it, and why do you think that 100 million naira would do justice to what you have in mind?
Well, there is a story behind it. It is not an attractive one in many ways, but in some ways it's a hopeful one. The truth is that I have had close experiences, because certain members of my family have had brushes, let me use that word, brushes with cancer. Some of them have won the battle and some of them did not make it. But I felt that as I was approaching my birthday, I felt that looking back and considering some of the experiences that I have had, and also considering the fact that when I needed help, at the time when these various members of my family had challenges, I reached out to some friends and associates of mine, and they answered the call. And I felt that knowing that there are a lot of people who are in a situation where that help is not available, I just felt that maybe this would be my opportunity to do something about it. And that's why I said, okay, let's raise these funds. Well, 100 million may seem like a drop in the ocean, but I do know from the different conversations and discussions that I've had with stakeholders, I know that it can go a pretty long way in doing a few useful things, especially when it comes to research, and also making some types of equipments and accessories available to everybody, because we know that there are places where if you can afford it, you can get the treatment. But in public hospitals, it may not quite be the same situation. And so having witnessed the discomfort of people who have been through cancer, I just feel that the right thing to do is to ease that discomfort for those who are in that kind of situation at the moment.
All right, then. So I'd like to ask, are there specific areas of cancer research and treatment that you intend to prioritize with this fundraiser that you've put together? And also on the back end, how are you going to ensure transparency and accountability? Because I know that, of course, you're in charge of this pool of 100 million, but you're still going to have people on the back end that are I guess, attending to these people that will come in for this treatment. So what specific areas and how do you intend to ensure transparency and accountability?
Okay, well, let's take the last question first. It is because it is difficult to ascertain who specifically will benefit from the funds in terms of treatment. That is why when we sat down to discuss, we felt that it is better to make equipments available that everybody can have access to. So it's not a question of if you have an issue or you can't afford it, then from this fund, chemotherapy, medicaments will be bought. That's not the idea. The idea is that knowing, as I said, the only word that I can use the word pain, but we really can't quantify that. But I do understand discomfort because I have seen it at close quarters. So knowing the discomfort, then we know that there are certain types of accessories that, if they are made available, will ease those treatment days. So the days when people come in for treatment, there are certain things that they can have access to, certain equipments that they can use, and everybody can use them. And so it doesn't matter whether you can afford it or you can't afford it. It's there for you to have access to it and be used. In terms of accountability, what we decided to do was to constitute a fundraising committee. So all the members of that fundraising committee are all media practitioners. So, and it is chaired by Mrs. Tong Okewale Shonaya, the CEO of WFM, I think it's 97.1, or is it 91.7? I get confused sometimes. The Women Radio, yes. So she is chairing that committee, and as I said, the other members are media practitioners. So we had a press conference, and we reached out as much as we could to the members of the press that attended, asking them to assist in sending out the word. So when the money comes in, and we have reached a point where we feel we can begin to disburse, at that point, because when I spoke to stakeholders, there were certain things that I was told was needed at that time. Now, by the time this money is available, it is possible that some of those needs might have changed. So, but we will be current. We will find out, what is needed, and then we'll be able to disburse. Fortunately, one of the members of one of the trustees, rather, of the initiative, the organization that was registered to take care of this, is a radiologist. So he is in a position to advise us, if this is what is requested, okay, so what's the latest model, what is the type that would, benefit the most people? So that is that. In terms of research, well, from my own little research, I discovered that there are 4 or 5 hospitals that are working with a renowned oncologist who's based in Chicago. And a structure is already on ground working on certain types of research. And again, as I discussed with some of the stakeholders, I was told that whatever type of research is going to be done has to go through some kind of forensic and ethical process for them to be satisfied that this is the actual research that is needed at this moment in time. So I have no fears about us saying, oh, this is the kind of research we want to do, when in actual fact, this is the kind of research that is needed. So that is also under control. Yeah.
And the equipment that you're bringing in, are you going to have your own center? Or because you mentioned public hospitals, so are you sharing them to public hospitals or different centers?
No, it's for public hospitals only.
Across the country?
Well, as far as the money will go. If we are lucky and we get more than what we hope, well, the more the merrier, the further the equipment will go. Yeah.
What's your assessment of government's intervention, given the fact that you'll be donating the things that you realize to public hospitals? What's your assessment of interventions from government, starting from yesterday's directive by the President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, directing that 6, I believe, public hospitals should be immediately upgraded. And I think Luth was one of the ones mentioned as far as cancer treatment, is concerned. UCH has had, particularly, I think, University of Ibadan alumni raising huge sums of money to, devoted essentially to areas of cancer. And if you also cast our minds back to when the late President Yaradua was in government, his wife, Ture Yaradua, also, raised a good amount of money devoted to cancer research and stuff like that. How far do you think that all those interventions went, and what would be your overall assessment? Do you trust government enough to want to channel 100 million, raised on account of your birthday to public institutions?
Do you know, it's really not a matter of trust, whether trusting the government or trusting the healthcare operatives. The fact is that certain things are required.
Yeah.
So if these things are bought and presented to the oncology departments, they will be used.
That's true.
I cannot imagine a situation where I'm trying to think of something that is small. All right, let's use something like a BP monitor.
Okay.
All right, which may or may not be used for cancer, but I'm just using that as an example. So I can't imagine a situation where you have a clinic of maybe 50, 80 patients, and perhaps what you have initially is about 5 BP monitors, and then suddenly 5 more appear, and now you have 10, and then somebody says, oh, sorry, we can't use the extra ones, or there's no need for the extra ones. Let's just keep on using the 5 that we had. So it doesn't make sense. So the people who are in charge of administering the healthcare know where the shoe pinches. Yeah. They know what is needed, how it is needed, and when it is needed, and they will use it. So as I said, this is a private initiative, but it is one that is appealing to the public to help. And the help is supposed to bring succor, bring hope, bring relief to the people who need it in the oncology departments. Yeah. So I honestly don't think it's not a matter of trust. As far as I see it, it's a matter of seeing that something needs to be done and doing it. And, Steve, let me say trusting that the healthcare workers who will do the right thing. Yes, because the government doesn't need to tell.
That's important. Yeah.
Doesn't need to tell a matron or a nurse that, hey, this person needs their BP checked, and the government is not coming from anywhere to tell that nurse or matron or ask them, by the way, why haven't you checked this patient's BP? It's part of their job.
That's right.
So what is important is the apparatus available to do their job? So if under normal circumstances, it takes you maybe 1 hour to test the BP of 40 patients, for instance, but then you now have more BP monitors, and now it takes you 30 minutes instead of the 1 hour. So you can now move on to the next stage faster in a more conducive and friendly manner. Because I can assure you that for patients that are lining up, their own patients will certainly be tried, just as the patients of the healthcare workers who are supposed to deliver and can't because maybe they don't have enough of a particular instrument.
That's right.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah.
So providing SOCO and of course providing the right apparatus. Now, what message would you like to convey to individuals or organizations who are looking to support your fundraising campaign? How can they contribute contribute to making this impact, this difference in the healthcare system?
Their contribution would be, at least as far as this particular campaign is concerned, their contribution would be, one, awareness that help is needed. Two, passing the word to others, letting them know that this is something that is happening, this is something that is needed, and as a result, let's join the bandwagon. You know, let's get on board and make a contribution. How small, how large, just make a contribution so that we can actually raise this money.
How can they find the fund?
How can they find it?
Yeah.
How do you mean, how can they find it? You mean, where do they want to, how are they going to donate?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, it's, the name of the organization is Lifeline Advocacy and Development Initiative.
Okay.
The bank is Fidelity Bank, and I don't remember the number offhand, so I wrote it down so that I don't forget. And the account number is 560-120-6418.
All right.
Can I repeat that?
Yeah, sure. Please go on.
560-120-6418. Fidelity Bank.
All right, great. But we cannot, as we are running out of time, we cannot have ageless Bimbo Oloyede come to the studio and not talk broadcasting. You know, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You know, 70 around the corner. How did you find broadcasting, or how did broadcasting find you?
Me?
And in those days, it was beauty and brain. You know, the days of Ronke Darling became Ronke Ayuba. You know, and all those people. You know, how was it? You know, and how did you manage to shine? You know, and you've remained relevant since then.
I think the truth is that broadcasting found me.
Okay.
I really didn't go looking for it. I was employed initially as an assistant producer, but a situation arose. The head of state then, Murtala Mohammed, was assassinated, and the controller of programs said we needed to have a program eulogizing him. As a result of that, there was a curfew, and so our artists could not come to the studio. So we were given a challenge. Okay, you people in the drama department, you are dramatists, come up with something and perform. And everybody said, okay, I can do this, I can do that. I said, okay, let me read poetry. So I read poetry, not knowing that at that particular time there was an idea that network news should be started and that females should be brought on board, and that they were looking for new faces and new voices. So I read the poetry, and then about 2 weeks later, the controller called me and said, okay, so you have an Afro hairstyle. Do you have any African clothes? I said, well, one or two. She said, anyway, you've got 24 hours. Tomorrow, we're going nationwide, and you are going to read the news. I said, I beg your pardon. And I remember my cousin, late Art Alade, was standing beside her. And I looked at him, and he said, she's serious, though. So just go and get ready. And that was how 24 hours later, I find myself as a newscaster.
Wow.
So, yes, those days were really quite exciting because it was new. You know, it hadn't been done before, and having women on the news then. But interestingly, we were told that the public should not be distracted by the fact that women were reading news, and so we were only given reports, which meant that you had maybe 20 seconds on air before the report rolled in and came on air.
I see.
Yes. So at that time, that was the thinking, you know. But, well, it didn't really last that long because before you knew it, people were wondering about, oh, how did she tie this gele? And how did he, you know, that sort of thing. So, and when we started, it was black and white.
That's right.
So you could wear any color you like, you know, it was a color riot.
Those were NTV days? Or?
NBC TV.
That's right, correct,
yes, Yes, 1976 to be precise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were there competition among the bevy of beauties then?
No, actually, there wasn't. I mean, we were all different. And we were all friends. There was a kind of camaraderie that existed, you know, amongst us. So, you know, in fact, sometimes you wouldn't even know who was on duty and who was not.
Correct.
It's only when you switched on the TV that you would be able to say, that is, if you were a member of staff, you'd be able to say, oh, okay, so it is this and this person that is on air, because the rest of us would be around.
Great. I'm enjoying this interview a little bit too much. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
And I hope everyone joined you in your
fight
against cancer.
I hope so too, because it's a worthy fight. You don't want to see, you know, what it's like for people who are facing the challenge. You don't.
All right.
Thank you so much.